Good morning, everybody. Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
We are sorry for the technical glitches. We are working on it. Maybe in the next few minutes we'll start, please. So just try to reach out to your colleagues so that every one of us can get connected. All right.
All right, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. In the another few minutes we'll start. All right. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, please, I want to find out, are you hearing me and are you seeing my slide?
Yes, we can hear you and we can see the slide.
Oh, beautiful.
And we can also see your face, sir.
You can also see my face.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you for seeing my face. Okay, I think I should remove my face so that my face will not be a distraction.
No, it is not, sir.
You can,
It is
you
not,
can leave
sir.
it, sir.
So that my face will not be a distraction. So please, can we
No.
start because we have about 15 of you? Do you support that we start? Can we start the lecture?
Yes, sir, we can start. We have wasted time, so we can just start.
All right, thank you very much. So let's start the lecture. All right, once again, I want to apologize for the technical glitch. The lecture was supposed to be 10 o'clock, but unfortunately, there are some technical issues beyond my control. As you can see, my name is Dr. Ulutu, and I'll be taking this course with Dr. Smart. The course is Introduction to Procurement in Public and Private Sector. So we'll be looking at largely social standard in procurement. Social standard in procurement. And in the course of this, we'll be dealing with, we'll be looking at what is procurement. We're also going to be looking at introduction of social standard in procurement, labor rights and working conditions, human rights in procurement, stakeholder engagement and collaboration. Environmental,
Alpha. Where your madam? Where's your madam?
environmental sustainability and procurement,
Where is your madam?
social auditing and monitoring, implementing social study in procurement,
Where's your
and then
madam?
the case studies and best
Where's your
practice.
madam?
Field experience that we'll be looking at over time. The objective
About
of this
danger.
course.
No, nothing much. I heard
Are you
that
hearing
Mr. Charles.
I'm not stopping now, no break.
Thank you.
Are you hearing me? Yes, sir, we can hear you.
I hear
Alright.
you.
Okay, thank you very much. So the
Right.
course objectives, I thank you very much. At the end of this course, we should be able to understand what is social standard, then understand the importance of social standard in procurement. They should be able to apply social standard in the real situations. Because as we know, many of us, I expect that many of us, one way or the other involved in the procurement of various establishments. At least one way or the other, you get involved in the purchasing of one or two things, items. So we'll be looking at the practical experiences. Then we're also going to look at the social risk that's involved in procurement. And then at the end of the day, you should be able to develop social standard policies, develop policy and procedure for social standards as the case may be. Then at this point, we are going to look at what actually is procurement. Because you cannot be talking about social standards in procurement without having to understand what is actually procurement. And different school of thoughts have come out to define procurement in different ways. Like I always tell my students, definition of a concept is as much as the number of people that want to define it. But the basic thing, the most important thing is that there should be the basic element, the basic principles of that concept should be embedded in your definitions. Because except you are putting an authority, all of us cannot define a concept in the same way, except we are putting authorities. So it is very important. That's why I want to look at procurement from different perspectives. Procurement, like I said, there is an essential management function of any government or private entity as well as NGOs. No matter, in as much as you get involved in one business activity or the other, either as a public official, private sector, or an NGO, even the church, we all make purchases. So in as much as you consume products, you buy raw materials, you consume the raw material, you replace the raw materials and other administrative equipment. So certainly you must do purchasing, you must do procurement. So in another way, so that it refers to the function of effective planning and execution of the operation related to the contractual acquisition of external inputs needed to sustain the service delivery mandate. So for you, like I said, in as much as you are producing something or you are rendering services somewhere, you want to replenish, you want to repair, you want to maintain, you must need external inputs. You cannot produce everything within your organization. So there's a need for you to get external inputs. And you don't just carry your money into the market and buy things for an established organization. So there are processes that has to be followed. So there are procurement processes. And like I said, in the same vein, we divided procurement activities into the goods, works, and services. The goods, works, and services. The goods has to deal with the raw material that you used. Works has to do with construction, building, maintenance of structures, while services has to do with consultancies or non-consultancy activities. So what are the processes involved in procurement policies? Now, it is also very imperative for you to understand that procurement is seen both in public, is carried out both in public and private sector. So it's a contractual acquisition of goods, work, and service, like I said, by both the public as well as the private environment. So in line with all this explanation and definition that I've given, it is important that this can be looked at from the point of the national environment, the regional environment, and the international environment. Because some organizations operate only at local level. Like now, there are organizations that operate only within Benue State. There are organizations that operate only within Macaulay, just a local government. And then there are organizations that expanded their scope of operation beyond the states where they are operating. Maybe 2, 3 states. Some can even be regional or zonal, as the case. In Nigeria is divided into 2 regions, northern and southern region, and then 6 zones, all right, that we have, and then Nigeria as an entity. So, but if you are not operating within your local environment, you are operating at the national level, you are operating within the regions or zones, or you operate at international level. So whatever level you are operating, there is procurement activities that you carried out. And that is why it is very important that if you are operating mostly at the international level, you're dealing with multilateral development banks has come up with these definitions of location or geographical locations of operations of procurement activities. Now the goods, like I was trying to say the other time, talks about means of a commodity, raw material, machinery, equipment, the buying and purchase of all these items, okay, transportation, insurance, and installations. Why the works has to do with constructions, repairs, rehabilitation, maintenance, okay? Are we okay? Who is talking? Gato, please mute yourself. So services, of course, has to do with by MDB that divided into a services transaction with no physical goods are transferred from the seller to the buyer. So it's just like you want to render services, all right? When you are rendering services, you cannot separate the provider of that service from the service that is being provided. So it is very important we understand when we are talking about services. Then, of course, we have the consultancy services, which many of us as scholars, we do get ourselves engaged in. Then, of course, you have the public entity, the public funds. We are dealing with procurement in the public and the government cycle. We talk about public entity, the ministry, the department and the agencies, the public funds as approved by the legislature. Okay, so as approved by the legislature. So it is very important that we appreciate it. Now, what is the strategic importance of procurement? Number one, for government, it constitutes a sizable portion of their GDP. In fact, procurement constitutes around between 20 and 30% of most nations' gross domestic product. And then, of course, in Nigeria, for instance, a much higher percent of national government budget. You know, most of our Nigerian budget has to do with purchases. So 70 to 80% of Nigerian budget has to do with procurement. TV, Ralph, can you please mute yourself? Okay, so procurement strategy, there are several strategies that we looked at, but our intention is not to go deep into what is procurement as the case may be. Our intention is to look at social standards in procurement, but we just want to lay a foundation for you as to what is procurement, okay? So there are several strategies that we can use to promote procurement as it were. Now, for the private sector, now there's a difference, okay, let me just, for the private sector, procurement is largely about profit. Procurement is about largely competition. So unlike the government, where procurement is about rendering services to the people, the end user, because you are not making profit in the ministry, department, and agencies. You are using your procurement to provide services to the people. You are using it to bless your nation, okay? But in the private sector, it is largely about profit making. So that is one of the major difference between the public sector and the private sector procurement system. So that is the reason why I discovered that procurement is, in most organizations in the private sector that carried out procurement, they are very strict about it and they follow the international laws. Unlike the public sector where the government can just unilaterally, the governor or the president can unilaterally award a contract, just like what Tinubu did about the coastal roads, Calabar to Lagos. There was no advertisement, there was no bidding, there were no bidding processes. It was just a one-man off. In fact, recently, last week, right? Last week, all of us were aware when he said he met one of his Belarusian friend, one of his schoolmates in Chicago, according to him, whom he met, suddenly ran into, and then immediately gave him a contract to supply Nigeria with 2,000 tractors. No bidding processes, no legalities was followed. The man just unilaterally awarded contract to his friend. You can hardly do that in the private sector. You can hardly do that in the private, even though you want to award the contract to your friend in the private sector, you still have to follow the normal protocol. So that is one of the challenges that we have in the public environment. Now, if you look at the objective of procurement functions, the objective functions of the procurement is follow the 5R, the 5 rights. We call it the 5R. The right quality, which implies that the quality of the product or the services that you are rendering or you are purchasing must be the right one. Quality that will last long, quality that will not be rejected, quality that will make you to have value for money. So that at the end of the day, you will not be spending money on, you will not be wasting public funds. And so the right quality of what you want to buy. Of course, you have to also look at the right quantity. The right quantity as per the actual needs. Because the needs identification or the user entity, okay? The user entity or is the company, sorry, the department or the people that actually need the things that is to be bought. That is where it is going to be generated from. So what is the quantity? Like now, University of Agriculture, Makurdi requires maybe about 100 laptops to be distributed for all the exam officers in the university. So because all the HODs must have written a letter to the university that, look, oh, my exam officer requires a laptop. So for each department in the university, the vice chancellor would now collate all of them together, transfer the application, sorry, to the procurement department, and then they put up demands, the specifications, everything will be written down. And what is the quantity that is required? Everything will be highlighted. And then they will now submit for approval before the purchases can be done. So what is the right quantity? So that the reason why the right quantity is very germane and very important is because you don't want to under apply for purchases or over apply. Because if you over apply for a product or a service, you discover that the thing can stay for a long time in the store, in the warehouse, and it can get damaged or get spoiled or get pilfered. And then if it is undercharged or under required, then you discover that by the time you get to the market to go and buy another one, in fact, by the time it's finished, the production might stop. Okay, because you may be looking for where to buy another one. That thing may also not be in the market at that point in time. So it is very important that your stocking, you have to consider your stocking because in line with the cost, because everybody is trying as much as possible to reduce cost. Because whatever you are procuring, the cost of procurement, okay, must be worth it. That's when we talk about value for money. You must have value for money of whatever you do. So the next one is the right price. In purchases, in procurement, you look for the cheapest price. But that is what most organizations look for. They look for the cheapest price, but it's not always the case in most cases. If you are talking about the right price, you have to look at the right price in relation to the quantity and the quality that is being considered. Like I said the other time, people are not talking about value for money. So you cannot be talking about price, either the price is cheap or the price is high, without talking about the quality of what you want to buy and the quantity. You know, sometimes the more the quantity, the lesser the cost, okay? If you want to buy more, the price will come down a little. So you have to consider that. And then, of course, you look at the right time. You look at the right time and the right place. So the bidding document must prepare the right destination for purchase. Where are you buying the item from? When are you buying it? When is the supply going to come? Is it in 2 months' time? Is it in 3 months' time? Is it in the morning that you are making the supply or in the evening, depending on the specification, the type of product that you are buying? If you are buying a gas, for instance, or you are buying an inflammable product, where do you get it from? And how do you get it? Okay? When are you getting it? So it is very important that all the rights, that is one of the rights of procurement. And then, of course, you have the right source. It is not just anywhere that you see a product that you want to buy. You must buy product from a source that is reliable. That is why you discover some people, they will go and buy items from open market, for instance, and when the thing does not meet their specifications, they want to return it. And by the time they return it, the people that they bought it from will tell you, sorry, we cannot return it back to you. Or they might even deny that you never even bought it from them. You know the way our market operates, especially our Igbo brothers operate. When you go into their store to go and buy items in the market, in the open market, they don't have that product though, but they will tell you, say it's in the store. They will now rush to another person far away, looking for where they can get it. Eventually, maybe after you must have stayed in the shop for like 2 hours, you will now show up and say, oh, God, sorry, the store, blah, blah, blah. Give your manner excuses. Then you buy your items. And by the time you get to the office, the product did not meet your needs. So you want to return it, and the guy will say, sorry, the person that sold that product is not even from this shop. It's another person. I don't even know who he is. And matter died there. Then so much millions of naira may have been lost. So that is why you must have to be sure, be confident that your source is reliable, it's a source of integrity, a source that has integrity, a source that have good reputations. That is why you can never go into procurement or purchases without looking at historical records of your suppliers. It is very important. So you don't engage in such things. So these are the 5 R's of procurement, okay? And this is very important in order for you to ensure that there's economy of scale, there's efficiency, there's non-discrimination, there's transparency, there's accountability. And then, of course, when you are making purchases, Nigeria has a policy on a local content. Okay, if you are making any purchases in Nigeria, you have to look at you have to consider local content. Everything must not come from outside the country. So there's a percentage of your purchases, especially if that item is not being produced in Nigeria. So there's a quantity that you must have to source from Nigeria. So it is very important that we appreciate that. So please, if you want to ask questions at any point in time, you are free to ask me questions. So don't just...
Sorry, sir. My hand is up, sir.
Okay, please go ahead.
Sorry, sir. The 5R, I didn't, let me take you back a bit. I didn't get the first one.
The first one is the right product.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Right product.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Yes. Yes, any other person, any question?
Yes,
Yes,
to
please.
throw more light on the right to, I think, quality, and then the other one, I think you mentioned the price. I don't know how to put them. Can you relate them together? We'll talk about quality and then the price.
The right, see, you can, the right price, I told you there are 5 R, okay, of procurement. The right product, right price, right quality, right quantity, right time, right place. So if you are talking about quality, the user entity, the departments or the organization that want to consume the product, they are the one to tell you the specifications of what they want. And that specifications, of course, has to do with the quality of the item you are providing for them, you are buying for that department. And so that quality, that specification they have written down for you, when you want to go and make your purchase, when you meet with your suppliers, you discuss, you negotiate that quality with them. It's that quality that the user department has specified. You cannot go and negotiate it. Alternative is not allowed. So it has
Okay.
whatever you are bringing, yes, whatever you are bringing in must meet the right standard that have been set of what they want to buy. Are we together? So if you are going to do that, then you are, it does not matter. And you know, in procurement, like I said earlier, people want to look at cheap price, but you cannot negotiate or compromise quality in the place of price. If not, so at the end of the day, you will regret it. Am I communicating?
Okay. Yes, you are, but no, in an event, because we're dealing with multifaceted sectors now, in an event where the budget
Hello?
serve the need of the quality that is proposed, what happens? Is there any
Sorry.
alternative?
Sorry, repeat yourself because you went off at a time. Repeat what you just said.
Okay, I said in an event where the budget mapped out for such a procurement activity, maybe a given situation in the market does not match with, or cannot really afford the specifications of the end users.
Yeah.
What would be the alternative if there is any at all?
When you are making demands, you are going to give room for alternatives.
Okay.
You are going to give room for alternative, number one. Then number two, you are also going to give allowance, considering the economy of the country where you are operating from. You're also going to make an allowance, maybe 10% allowance or 20% allowance, because like now in Nigeria, things increasing, the price of goods increases per second.
Yes.
So
yes,
if the current price is 20,000 naira per item, you can make an allowance of 5. That is why you discover that federal government contract, they give such room, they give such allowances. That's why I think they normally had about 30%. If the actual price is 100,000, they had another 30%. The essence is not just only for you to make profit, but the essence is for you to, they have also considered the variations in the market environment.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's solved.
Yes, but in a way, in a situation whereby what has been quoted and approved by the approving entity, if you get to the market, the price has gone up, you have to take it back. If you did not make such provision earlier, then you have to take it back. But the danger in that one is that it's going to cause a delay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you very much. Thank you. So we can progress.
Sir, can you
Yes, sir.
go over the procurement?
My hand is up, sir.
Okay. The lady is speaking. Who's that?
It's not a lady. My hand is up.
No, there's a lady that is talking.
It's not a lady, it's Jigba that
It's
is
Jigba.
talking.
Okay, Jigba. Okay, sorry, your voice is lady.
It's Spanish, okay. Okay, so you were explaining some procurement phases or procurement plan, tender contract management, and my network was not allowing me to flow with you. It will be appealing if you can repeat yourself, sir. Thank you.
No, I have not gotten to the various phases of procurement.
Okay,
I just mentioned in the past in terms of explanation.
It's okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Yes. My question is that, sir, you talked about right source in procurement.
Yes.
And you need, from your explanation, it is good for one to know where you are getting your product from and whether the person have the capacities of supply that kind of product before now, or whether if you have supplied that kind of product before now or item before now. My question now is that, does it mean that a newly formed company cannot go into supply when it comes to the issue of procurement? Maybe you just start up a company newly today and you've not been able to, you have not done any kind of job before like this. How is it going to be? Is it possible for you to go into kind of job now?
Now, the issue is that it depends on what you want.
Okay.
If you want a job, a quality product that will ensure quality performance, Then you have to be able to go for organizations or suppliers that you can trust or that you have trust in. Now, if you check Wike, the minister for FCT, he hardly give his contract, which was the major contract. He doesn't give it to any other organization outside Julius Berger because he has confidence in Julius Berger. I knew that Julius Berger would deliver, will not disappoint him. I trust Julius Berger that Julius Berger will give me a quality work that Nigeria will appreciate. So you can now imagine someone that just floated a company last year that is now coming to come and bid for a project that is maybe coming to bid for like a 100-kilometer road project that requires so much procurement. Okay, so it depends on what you want or what your organization wants, and that is where what I know where you are driving at is that how will the new company survive? The new
Yes, sir. That
Yes,
is my question, sir.
I know that is where you are going. Now, how will
Yes,
the
sir.
company survive? In procurement, there is nothing that says that winner takes all. There is no one that says winner takes all. If, for instance, a Julius Berger wins a bid, now there could be a clause. There could be a clause in that contract agreement that this item is to be supplied by local companies. So in that way, so Julius Berger can sublet some of the items to the new company for them to supply. Because the truth of the matter is that how do you trust a company that you have never seen doing anything before? So are you putting your company's life at risk? Let me give us a short story. Some years ago, when I think Babade Farati was the governor of Ondo State. I don't know many of you whether you know Ondo State in Nigeria. He was the governor of Ondo State. And then he gave road contract to so many of his friends. And then Rufus Giwa was one of the people he gave contract. So the committee people of Rufus, unfortunately enough, the road procurement that he gave to Rufus Giwa were the roads that lead to his own village. So at a point, the village people were now raising an objection to the governor that you awarded so many roads. I didn't give anyone to our community. So the governor now was in his intelligence, now decided to list all the roads he awarded in Ondo State and the contractor that he awarded them to. Then before you know it, the committee now rose up against Rufus Giwa that so you are our son. The governor gave you a contract to do our road, and for this number of years, you refuse to do it. And do you know what happened? Rufus Giwa had never done any road project before. So he collected the money that the governor gave, about 70% upfront. He now went and used the money to go and acquire equipment that he want to use for the contract that he got. It was in the course of going to and fro. When the people got to know about it, everybody was angry. So in the course of going to and fro, I know that he had an accident and died. So somebody that had never done road construction before, governor gave him a contract. Why don't you sublet it and give it and collect your percentage and walk away? But you say you want to establish your own company. You now want to use the contract money that was given to you now to go and acquire equipment before you now come and start. So you can see the danger of using freshers. So freshers or newly established company can actually start small. You shouldn't be going to apply for 100-kilometer, 200-kilometer road when you have never done 1 kilometer before. So why don't you just go for contracts apply for roads to patch potholes and start from there? So somebody that has never patched pothole before, you want to recruit that person to come and supply equipment to your company. Okay? Now what you buy now you go sell it. So that you carry out crop. So it is better to avoid it. But they can survive, but the new company can survive, but let them start small. Because Julius Berger also started small because it became an international company. Okay, I've answered your question.
Yeah, you've answered the question. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Guaya. Okay, Genga.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Doc.
Morning, sir.
So I'm a little confused.
All right,
when
sir.
you get mention of in procurement, they normally go on cheap price, not the quality list. I'm a little confused. Then I don't think if the I believe that the things you use your high money or your money you buy it higher, it will serve you more than the one you use the lower this thing I got. But what's making them to go for cheap items?
So many reasons. Greed, corruption, paucity of funds. You want to buy this item now. A good quality laptop today in the market that will last you for longer years or longer time, like 5 years, cannot cost you less than 1.5 million naira or 2 million naira, as the case may be. But there are still laptops of 500,000, 400,000 in the market. So because of paucity of fund, you will not have the money to go and buy the 1.5 million naira laptop. And then you go for the 400,000. And after 6 months, it starts giving you challenges. In fact, it's not even as large. It does not even have the capacity to be able to carry the load that you want the laptop to carry. So sometimes it is paucity of fund, lack of fund. It's just like now, somebody that is producing Zobo, okay, that is producing Zobo for sale, commercial quantity, and then you now want to acquire property, equipment for you to be able to go commercial. That person can never compare herself with Coca-Cola, with Pepsi. It's not possible. The equipment that Coca-Cola will acquire, such organization can never buy it. But such person, if you have to struggle to buy such, may go down. So because of the different channels of money that, that the money will go into, so some people naturally in procurement, you have to go for the least, you are supposed to go for the least price so that the company will not extort or exploit your organization. But in going for the least price, which is one of the criteria that is considered in procurement, you must consider the quality. You must consider the 5 rights of procurement. So it is not just only peculiar to price. So it's only a foolish procuring agency or entity that will only consider price or the price of the thing. So in as much, the most important is for you to have value for money. Whatever that you are procuring, at the end of the day, you must enjoy it. You must have value for money. But most organizations use the price as a major yardstick because of some of the reasons I gave, either because of corruption or greed or because there's no money. So let us just make do with the small one that we are able to. Let's go for the cheap one we can buy. When we have money, we'll buy a better one tomorrow. So there are several reasons that you can afford for that. So that's the reason, sir.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you. Please, can we progress? Okay. So there are, like I said the other time, in the private sector and the public sector, like I said, difference between the two. The public sector provides public goods, okay? They're not affected by recession. There's nothing concerned government with recession, whatever it is, because the country must run. The country can never go down because there's a recession. So anyhow it is, they will adjust the system and they will continue to move on. Government job is to protect the environment. And all right. So we also look at entrepreneurs create jobs where need. Hello, are you with me?
Your slide went up, sir. Your slide is not on.
Okay. I think that was network issue. Are you seeing the slide now?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
sorry.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The slide is
All
off
right,
now.
okay, thank you. Thanks for the network. So entrepreneurs' job is to create jobs where needed. But like government establishment, I will tell you, they have to create an enabling environment where the entrepreneurs or entrepreneurship can come online, and then they can be able to help to create the jobs that the environment desires. And then the private sector, of course, has less bureaucracy and scope for corruption. Like I said the other time, the hierarchies or the corrupt practices in the public sector, you cannot dare it carrying out in most private organizations. There's more high level of corruption in the public sector than in the private sector. And there's a lot of, there's less bureaucracy. That is why in the private sector, as soon as the department, the procuring entity, sorry, as soon as the user department raises a memo that we lack this, so we require this, these are the specifications, you just forward it to your manager send it to administration forward it, I give approval, forward it to procurement purchases and supply to the store. The store, now the user department will now go to the store and go and pick it up. But in the public sector, it's not like that. Sometimes you have to leave your state, especially federal government. So many offices will get involved. And before in the next 6 months, they are yet to make that procurement. Sometimes it goes to years. So that is one of the challenges. Then private sector doesn't require taxes to fund. So these are the differences between public sector as well as the private sector. Then, sorry. So you are seeing my slide, man?
Very well, sir.
Okay, thank you. So these are just the further explanations on the differences between public and private sector. So in conclusion, due to the above, public procurement professionals find themselves obliged to give utmost attention to compliance with the procedures, including lengthy advertisement, non-discrimination, and other constraints. So in public procurement, between naturally, you must follow the 5R, and then procurement is carried out both in the public sector as well as the private sector, as well as the NGOs. As well as the non-governmental organization, they carry out a procurement at the same time. But the approaches in each of these 3 areas of the economy differ from place to place. So now, I will ask for class activities. We have asked some questions. I don't know if there's any other question. The essence of this session is to introduce us just to what is procurement and what does procurement entails. All right. So very soon we'll be looking at the legal regulations or the legal aspect of procurement before we go into the social aspect of procurement. So any further questions in this regard before we go to the next slide? All right.
So we can go on.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. All right, so progress. Now, the second section is the legal and regulatory framework of public procurement. Now, in this area, we are going to look at the hierarchy of legal instrument that is used in public procurement. And then we also look at certain principles of UNCITRAL, OECD, and other guidelines, global guidelines that every procuring country, or most countries that want to operate at international level is a signatory to. Okay, and this procurement guidelines by the World Bank, by the United Nations, and all of them. I think Nigeria is a signatory to almost all of these procuring organizations. So the hierarchy of public procurement legal framework, the legal framework that governs public procurement operations varies depending on the constitution and the legal traditions of the concerned countries. So the hierarchy of the public procurement legal framework comes in the following order of precedence. Now, it is very important for me to say here at this juncture that every country has its procurement guidelines carved out for her by the legislature or the National Assembly of that particular country in relation to international organizations, guidelines set by international organizations. So this actually vary from country to country, but every country, they set their own based on what the international committees, what the treaties that international communities have signed. So the first is the law of act or act. The second, the executive regulations, and then the third, the procurement manuals. Now, the law or act. Now, when a bill is sent to the National Assembly, the National Assembly discusses it, pass it from one state to another state, then invite the public to come and speak to that particular bill. Now, when they have spoken to it, then it becomes a law. And then that law will now be forwarded to the government. And then the government sign it, it becomes a bill, and then they take it to government, the executive now sign that bill into law, and then becomes an act of parliament, and then becomes a law. So that is the first line. That is the first line. There is no procurement document being used in Nigeria that has not passed through the National Assembly. Not one. Not even the 2017 Procurement Act. No, that is the one we are currently using now. I think 2017, yes. That's the one we are currently using now. So that one passes through the National Assembly, and then the President of the Nigeria signed into law. And then all the state governors, all of them also buy into it, and then they domesticated it at their various state levels. Now, when you have done that, then the executive regulations, that is the body that is being set up by the federal government from that law that was enacted. A body is set up, and that body now becomes the entity that regulates procurement activities in Nigeria. They are the ones to that guidelines, draw guidelines, principles from that law that has been enacted, and procurement manuals. That is the manual, the guide that all procurement regulatory level, the local government level, all of them, they must use that. So everybody uses that manual as a guide. Now take note, the law was made by the legislature and the executive, and then the executive set up an agency. Okay, and that agency is responsible for the execution or the implementation of procurement policies in Nigeria. If it is at the state level in your state, then if you are local government level at the local government level. And then there are documents, circulars, and guidance directives that are extracted from the Constitution or developed from the Constitution to guide procurement activities around the country. So those are the three stages that we talked about. And all these three stages contain several articles, contain several instructions that guides the operation of public procurement in the country. Now, if you look at the procurement regulations, this must be drafted and interpreted in consonance with the general principles and the general provisions of the administrative laws. So under the general heading of law, area cover authority to contract, status and responsibility of accountants of civil servants, rules on the abuse of power and corrupt practices. You know, it is not possible for you to carry out procurement without an attempt to abuse the process. And then there's also a rule for litigations. So all of these are captured in the laws that governs procurement. So I don't want to, because this is not our major area of concentration. So that's why I really did not want to go deep into it. But basically, it is for you to understand that there are three phases of the development of procurement policy for every country. We shall talk, okay, the document also contains there's a place I wanted to go to. Okay, the institutional and organizational framework for public procurement. Now, like I said the other time, there are institutions that are created, okay, that are responsible for procurement in every country. And these institutions derive their principles from the international bodies. Like I said here, the key institutional actors related to public procurement management are typically the Parliament, which I said the other time, the Ministry of Finance, the public procurement regulatory authorities, the Central Tenders Board. If you are working with a public organization, you know that there's always a tender board. A tender board, when you want to apply for, want to procure anything, you apply to the tender board. The tender board will now be the one to advertise. Then the procuring entity as defined in the law, the Auditor General of the country, the Anti-Corruption Commission or similar anti-corruption agencies, the bid challenge, bidders complaints mechanism, like I said, there will always be conflict. So if there are conflicts, how do you mitigate those conflicts? How do you deal with conflict that arises from procurement activities? Because sometimes the best bidder may not be the one that will likely win the contract. And so the person can decide to write a complaint. So you must make provision in that law how people who feel that they have been shortchanged, how they can remedify their complaints or their challenges. So the national judicial system, all of the above mentioned institutions will be involved. They are all involved in the execution of public procurement, and its oversight will potentially vary names and roles. So every country has different names that they call all of these people. So in some organizations, they marry some of these things together, and some of these institutions, they marry them together. But in some countries, they separated them. So they work like that. Now, the Public Procurement Regulatory Agency at the institutional level, the UNCITRAL, United Nations, that is the United Nations Commission on International Trade Law. That is UNCITRAL. So take note of that, the United Nations Commission on International Trade Law. Now, this UNCITRAL is one of the regulatory bodies that was created by United Nations as far back as 1966. Okay, as a permanent commission of the Assembly with the mandate of progressive harmonization and modernization of the laws of international trade. So largely, the UNCITRAL was created for international trade purposes. And then their assignment is to ensure effective implementation of procurement law and regulations. Number two, rationalization and standardization of procurement and of procurement practices. This may include the issue of standard bidding documents, guidance papers, procurement manuals, and circulars. So the processes, the step-by-steps, the guidelines, they are set by these principles under this UNCITRAL. They also help in monitoring procurement and the functioning of the procurement law and regulations from the standpoint of broader government policies, capacity buildings, that training of the procurement officer, just as we are trained, at least that is before the establishment of CIPES, there was nowhere in Nigeria where we train anybody on procurement. Thank God for CIPES that have come. And then now capacity building is going on every day across MDAs, ministry department and the agencies, private sectors. CIPES for their procurement officers to be trained. So capacity building is very important. Even the people that are going to carry the oversight function, they also have to be trained. So all these are very important. The compilations of annual public procurement statistics. So it has to be, it's one of their responsibility to represent the government in conducting these are the functions of UNCITRAL, okay, as selected among United Nations member states and represent the 6 Hello, are we back? I think the network is giving problem.
We are
Sir, we are
back.
here.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Sorry, it's the network. So, that is why you discover that most organizations that cut across borders, they rely on these United Nations principles of procurement. That is, I don't know, I can't remember the name of that organization in Britain that came to do a job in Nigeria, and they have to sue Nigeria for over, was it $12 billion or euro or pounds? I can't remember. So about 3-5 years ago, you know, they took us to court. They took us to court because we violated the principles of this UNCITRAL. And then the international organization has to take us to court, and they won. They won, and Nigeria was asked to pay, whether 12 billion pounds, I can't remember. I can't remember the exact figure. Then they have to, politics now has to come to play. I think they later play politics. I don't even know. Nigerian, Nigerian things, you will hear when it starts, but you hardly know when it will end. But it was because Nigerians violated this principle that time. That was why the organization took Nigeria to court. And they actually won that based on these principles. So in the mid-80s, UNCITRAL picked up public procurement as part of its work program. So UNCITRAL was working in terms of international trade, negotiations and all that. But in 1980, they now have a column purely devoted to public procurement plan. But they did not actually start working until 1993. That is what is called UNCITRAL Model Law on Procurement of Goods and Constructions, which was revised in 1994 to include services. So initially it was only for procurement of goods and construction. Then in 1994, they added services to it. So this coincided with the Berlin Wall. That is just historical perspective of these items. So now, the model law is now structured with a preamble of 8 chapters, okay? 8 chapters. Now, chapter 1 deals with introduces provisions of general application, defining how the model law is intended to operate. While chapter 2 to 7 present the procedure for conducting various procurement methods under the model law. While chapter 8 alone deals with the basis for bidders' complaints and the procedure to be followed in challenging procurement documents and decision made by the procuring entity during the completion. Why I don't want to go into these articles and chapters and all that, they are because you are not studying procurement. Because I taught this course, I taught procurement in procurement standard, and all the articles and every other thing, one by one, I explained them to them. But for you, your interest is not on these articles and chapters, but your interest is on the social standard. So very soon I will enter into the social standard. So just bear with me. So that why are you not expanding on this law? If I have to start expanding on this law, my brother, in fact, 1 whole month is not enough. So please just let us continue, and then bid challenge remedies for agri bidders under UNCITRAL. So when you have challenges, when you have complaints, so complaint could be received at different stages of the procurement process, either at the bidding stage, the evaluation stage, before the award of the contract, or after the award. So there's no single time or in the life cycle of procurement life cycle that you cannot register your complaints. In fact, your complaints, your early complaints, if you feel that you have been shortchanged, a provision has been created in the UNCITRAL. I think that should be at chapter 8, that deals with the challenges, complaints, and conflicts that may arise as a result of a violation of the processes of this procurement. That is why it is very, very, very important that when you are dealing with procurement in your organization, please avoid violating the procedures. Because once they take you to arbitration panel, they take you to that arbitration panel, it's a different ballgame entirely. And many of us that are procurement officers, we don't even have access. Most of us have never even accessed these laws and regulations for us to have full understanding of it and be able to apply it to our everyday activities. So the UNCITRAL also came in the Article 27 of the UNCITRAL model law. It came up with the different procurement methods. Okay, like somebody was asking me a question the other time, I said we are yet to get there. These are the various methods that can be used in public procurement: open tendering, restricted tendering, request for quotation. So sometimes you discover that the procuring organization will open their borders for every dick and harry, everybody to apply. That is what we call open tendering. And then you also leave it open to the public, for the public to gather, and then you will start opening the bids as submitted by the bidders. And then restricted one is one that is done secretly within in-house, that is does not involve the public, it does not involve everybody. And then request for quotation, there are applications that could be sent out to some established organization to send request for quotation. That is when we are talking about trust the other time. When the other man asked a question the other time, I told you it's not everybody that you want to apply for advertisement for bidding in the organization. So you can go to your archive, you can go to your laptop or your archive and check out those contractors that have relations to what you want. And then you can send them a memo, supply negotiation. So you can also demand for a request for proposal without negotiation. Sometimes you can also negotiate before they submit proposal, this thing. Then we have the two-stage tendering. There are two levels of tendering, depending on the organizations and what they want, depending on the standard they have set, the standards or the quality of the item they want. Then request for proposal with dialogue, request for proposal with consulting, reverse auction, single source procurement. You know, the Minister of Works, Umain, Calabar, Lagos, sorry, the network is fluctuating, no, I can't help it. So, but we are progressing. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Doc.
All right, thank you very much. So I was talking about Umai. So Umai was saying that what they used was a single source procurement. They know that this organization, I think that organization is owned by the Chaguri brothers. I will remember the name of that company now. That they have the capacity, they look at their previous works done, historical information about them. They discover they have the capacity, they have the capability, they have the skill to be able to carry out such massive 700-kilometer road work procurement, and they decided to hand it over to him. In the real sense of it, it was actually correct, because that is one way you can also source for procurement, which is the single source, instead of request for proposal and all that, and advertising and all that. Just like Wiki, we almost without advertisement, award almost all his contract to Julius Berger because of that same single source procurement. So they are backed by law, even though it is not the best. So we have the framework agreement. A number of these, of the multi-state method listed above, may actually overlap. So some of these various methods of carrying out procurement, okay, can actually overlap. Okay, you can marry 2, 3 together, depending on the organization and depending on what you want to bid for or what you want to supply to your organization. So there could actually be overlap. So every organization chooses which of the one that best suits them. Okay, and sometimes when you do some of these things, also you have to look at the legal implications of the one you have chosen, so that tomorrow somebody will not take you to the cleaners. Someone will not sue you to court and then start crying foul. Now, Another thing we're also going to look at is another regulatory organization is the OECD DAG, which is an assessment methodology. Methodology, we call it MAPS, Methodology for Assessment of Procurement System. Okay, so this methodology was initially developed in 2003-2004 through the joint effort of a group of interested stakeholders led by the OECD. That is the Organization of Economic Community Development, OECD, and supported by the World Bank and then other multilateral development banks. So the goals, these are the various reasons why that MAPS was created, provide a widely accepted common tool to assess and thereafter to recommend improvements, assess the quality and effectiveness of national procurement, public procurement system worldwide. You see, this map has set in place processes and procedures that public procurement system can actually adopt. So it's like a standard that the world global procurement family can actually adopt and ensure that they use. That is why when foreign multinationals violate these principles, unfortunately, because of the corrupt nation of Nigeria, we don't discipline them because we go to this company and collect bribe, and then we let them go because they have violated this procurement procedure. But in their home country, because they discovered that, yeah, they have violated this principle in another country, they will go to their own country and face sanctions. In their country, but the country where they have committed that crime, people collected bribe and they don't face any sanctions. And that is why any company can come into Nigeria and do all manner of foolish things. I remember when Akinyuli, the NAFDAC, the DG then, Akinyuli, Professor Akinyuli was in charge. She went to South Africa for a conference and decided to drink a bottle of Coca-Cola. And when she came back to Nigeria, she discovered that the taste of Coca-Cola she drank in South Africa was different from the one that she used to in Nigeria. So she bought some quantity and brought them to Nigeria, took the product to her lab, test run, do the comparative analysis, and discovered that the quality of the Coca-Cola that is being served and sold in South Africa was far better. The quality was far higher than the one that they sell for us in Nigeria. So she summoned the management team. When they came, she told them that she gave them 72 hours to revise to the standard that they are selling in South Africa. Or else I will shut you down in Nigeria and you'll never operate again. With this 48 hours, they reverse to the original stuff, to the normal thing. So because Nigeria don't care, our leaders, they take bribe, they don't care about this procurement, abuse of the procurement processes, they do all manner of things. All right? I still remember again when, whether the Aswani brothers or so, when they imported fake goods into Nigeria, fake supplies into Nigeria, she arrested them. And those people came with millions of dollars to come and bribe the woman refused and said they should return those things back to where they brought from, then they will face the legal implications. So one of them, I said, Madam, why are you worrying yourself now? We gave you money, you refuse. We gave you promises, you refuse. Is it because of this animal that you want to punish us? The woman said, are you calling my people, Nigerians, animals? And she got bittered. And because the Aswani brother were the touch-not people in Nigeria, because of their affiliation with Atiku, then Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So she went straight to Obasanjo, reported everything to Obasanjo, and Obasanjo immediately demanded within 72 hours they should be deported from Nigeria. And they were actually deported, despite Atiku did everything he could to stop it, but he couldn't. So what am I trying to say here is that these laws are there, these principles are there, the procedures and processes are there. But the question is that, do we implement them? That is why you see one of the goal number, I said, develop improvement strategy and set up plans for the implementation of needed reforms. So number 4, I said, assessing the foundation pillars of a well-functioning public procurement system. So the key features of revised MAPS are enhanced emphasis on achieve value for money in public procurement, which I've emphasized earlier on. Transparency in procurement processes. PNS. In terms of transparency, the question is that did you advertise? When you advertise, did you do a closed advertisement or an open advertisement? Do you give everybody, did everybody have access to your website to be able to access the necessary information as at when due? How transparent are you? Then fairness. Do you give everybody fair opportunity to advertise? To apply. So what is the level of fairness in your operation? The good governance. Okay. The management structure of your organization. How fair are they? Are they corrupt? Do they stick to standard? Do they ensure that the reporting organogram, they follow this squarely? And then, of course, you talk about the effectiveness. The effectiveness talks about the end result. What is the end result of this procurement? So all these things are carried out under maps. So it is imperative that you understand that there are several regulatory organizations as created by United Nations, by World Bank, by various organizations that most countries in the world are signatories to. And this guides the procurement processes in all countries, including Nigeria. Now, public procurement. Now, if you like the legal regulatory, I've already explained this, but it's just a diagrammatic explanation of all that I've been talking about before. Number one talks about the legal, regulatory, and the policy framework, the institutional framework and management capacity, procurement operations and market practices, accountability, integrity, and transparencies. So all this constitute the maps that we talked about. Then, of course, the World Bank procurement regulation also come up that talks about value for money, fairness, transparency, efficiency, fit for purpose, integrity, and of course, the economy. So what is the implication of this procurement on the economy? Like I was explaining to procurement standard about, was it last year lecture, that when you talk about the economy, like now in Benue State, most of the people that are supplying goods and services to Benue State government are likely Igbos. They are not Benue indigenes. They are not Benue indigenes. So when you look at it, so the monetary value, the economic benefit, is it benefiting the people of Benue State? I remember some years ago when Wike was the governor of Rivers State, the federal government was to release palliatives, palm oil, garri, rice, yam, and some other things to Rivers State, to all the states of the federation. It was only Rivers State government, Wike, that refused, that rejected that thing. He now said, look, Rivers State is capable of frying garri, of supplying garri. Come and buy the garri from us and sell and give to my people. Because it will now help to empower my people that are producing garri. Palm oil, we have palm oil orchard in the Rivers State. Come and buy palm oil from us. Okay, we don't produce yam, so you can buy yam in Benue or any other place you like. Rice, we don't produce rice as well. But there are 3 items that we can listed to the federal government. And do you know that Buhari government had to release money and bought those garri, bought palm oil, and which other item? There's about 3 items. They have to buy from Rivers State government, the Rivers State people, local farmers, and then still have to share it to the people of Rivers State. You can see the economic benefit of procurement to a state. So when you don't value your state, you give every procurement process, everything you procure, you give it to other states. But your state is suffering it, others are benefiting it. And that is why you discover that Nigerians have to develop the local content. But how many states have applied that local content to their procurement processes? All right, so it is very important that some of us that are privileged to be in one position or the other in Benue State or in your state or wherever you are, make sure that this local content works. When government want to buy palliative for your state, look at the one that the people of your state can have the capacity to produce. Because when you buy from the local farmers, you are equally empowered them. You have lifted them out of poverty. So it affected the economy of the state. So let us appreciate that and work on that. So there are many other regulatory agencies. We have the General Agreement on Tariff and Trade that was created in 1949. We have the International Finance Corporation that was created in 1956. We have the International Development Association, IDA, that was created in 1960. We have the Multilateral Investment the international.
Hello, sir. We don't hear you well. There is network challenge there, sir.
If you can hear us, we can't hear. Your network is breaking, please.
Yeah.
So when you look at all these regulatory agencies, they have one rule or the other to play signatory. In fact, most countries. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, we can hear you now, but
Yes, we can hear you now, sir.
5 minutes now, we could not hear you, sir.
Okay, let me take us a little back.
Okay, sir.
Okay, you heard me from here, huh?
Yes, yes, yes.
You heard me from here, okay. So,
Yes, sir.
all right, thank you. So, what I said thereafter was that there are several regulatory bodies created at the international level that guides procurement activities in the global marketing environment. And I listed them as General Agreement on Tariff and Trade that was created in 1949, International Finance Corporation that was created in 1956, International Development Association that was created in 1960, Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency that was created in 1965, the International Center for the Settlement of Investment Disputes that was created also in 1965. Now, all these agencies, all these bodies were created for the purpose of trade and investment as well as procurement activities by various countries. And like I said, most countries in the world, including Nigeria, are signatory to all these international regulatory bodies. And so that is why it is not good to violate any of these protocols when you are dealing with procurement in the global market environment. And I said that in 2016, the World Bank also introduced new procurement framework with increased focus on value for money and fit for purpose. So whatever procurement you are doing, does it give you value for money? There are many structures, many buildings, many roads that have been constructed in Nigeria today that even as they are even yet to commission, the road is already spoiling. As they are yet to commission the building, the breeze has taken the roof away. So do you actually have value for money? In Nigeria today, in most cases, you discover that the money that we spent in maintaining a new structure is more than the cost that was used to build it. So many of us, we have built corruption into our procurement processes. And that is, of course, violating the international protocols on the procurement frameworks. So fit for purpose, what we have bought, is it fit for purpose? Is it good for usage? So what is it meant for? So it is imperative that all these protocols are very necessary in procurement. And then, of course, when you talk about the World Bank procurement, it talks about value for money, fairness, transparency, efficiency, fit for purpose, integrity. All these are social factors. And this is exactly what brought us to social standards in procurement. And that is going to be the session 2 that we are going to talk about. So because you cannot be talking about procurement without talking about the people that are actually carrying out the execution of this procurement. How fair are they? Okay, how transparent are they? Okay, how effective can they be? Do they actually have the skill? And what is the environment like? The environment where they are operating, how is it like? Is it a green environment? So is it a green product? So who are your suppliers? Are they friendly? What kind of relationship do you build? So all of this comes together to make us to bring up this course that we are talking about today, which is the social standards in procurement. So in 5 minutes before I go into the social standard in procurement, any question, any observations, any comment? So I can take it quickly before I go into the next topic. If not, I say you want me to finish, then you can ask your general questions. Should I continue?
Go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. Continue, sir.
All right. So now let's look at social standard in procurement. At the end of this course, we should be able to understand what is social standard, the different types of social standards, then the scope of application of social standards in public procurement. What is social standard? Social standard are values set within a particular social group that governs appropriate behaviors on specific social occasion. Another school of thought said that these are basic rules regarding working conditions and fundamental rights of the workers in the work environment. Now, that govern the behavior of workers in the environment, in the workplace environment. Now, these rules can be written down rules, and it can be unwritten rules. And that is why I said that it has concepts such as conventions, customs, morals, norms, rules, and laws. You know, in African setting, in Nigerian setting, for instance, you don't call your senior by name. Especially if you are a Yoruba man, for instance, you don't call your senior by name. So you in the work 30 years old, and I'm working with somebody of 60 years old, it's natural, it's norm, it's a norm, it's a normal thing that you give that concession, that respect. All right. Like now again, in the workplace environment, for instance, and let me also use the Yoruba environment. A younger person cannot, that want to greet an elder, he will not be the one to stretch out his hand first. Even in Igbo land, the same thing. It is the elderly man that will stretch out his hand first for the younger to accept it. If you do something, if you do the reverse, it can affect your job. It can affect your relationship in the workplace environment. The use of abusive words in official matters is not allowed. But they are not written. They are not written, but they are our normal way of life, the way we relate and do things. So it is very important, this social to do with relationship. How do we relate in our place of work? How you relate with the machinery that you are working with? How you relate with the physical structure that you are working in? How you relate with your people, with the people you are working with? The junior people, the senior people, the management team. What is your relationship with them? What is your relationship with your suppliers? What is your relationship with your vendors? What is your relationship with the regulatory agencies? So all of
Yes,
this,
sir. Relationship at home, churches, just to add.
Yes, everywhere. Okay, even your faith, either you are a Christian, you are a Muslim, you are a traditionalist, it has a role to play in your workplace environment. So all of this comes together to talk about social standard in workplace environment. And that brings me to norms. What's the norm? Norm are standard ways of performing a particular task, duty by most sections of the population. That's a norm, normal way of life, normal way of doing things. There are basic standards that is known by all that this is the way we have to do the job. For instance, now you don't need to tell anybody to sit down to start doing his job. So you know that the person you are engaging in an environment needs chair and table to work. You employ the receptionist, you don't expect the receptionist to be standing for 8 hours in the workplace environment. So you know that you needed to provide certain facilities, make the environment conducive for that person to work. So these are normal things. So social norms are shared standard of acceptable behavior in the workplace environment, among groups and among the workplace environment. That's why I said also that it can both be informal understanding that govern the behavior of members of the society, as well as the codified little rules and laws are powerful drivers of human behavior. These are also, norm can also said to be, social norm can also said to be a customary or ideal form of behavior of which individual in a group try to conform. So when you are working with elder, you are somebody that seniors you in well senior you, who is a Treve should be news. Treve should move.
I should
can you
mute
please mute
this
your
guy
phone?
now.
I don't know whether the host is with me so that the host can help me mute them.
Yeah, I'm muting them, sir.
Sorry, sir, I didn't know even when it's unmuted. Though.
Sorry?
I'm just saying sorry, sir. I didn't even know when it unmuted. I'm conscious of it, but I don't even know when it unmuted.
Okay, all right, no problem. Thank you very much. Thank you. So, like I said, these are customary or ideal form of behavior to which the individual in the group try to conform. So if you are working with a group of people in an environment, the question is how do you relate with one another? The fact that a 21-year-old boy is working in the same group with a 59 or 50-year-old person does not know, he must know that he has to tread cautiously. You know, he has to show respect. He has to show orderliness. Okay, he has to show some good behavior around. Even the 59-year-old person will equally have to respect the views, the opinions of this younger 21-year person so that two of them can flow. So everybody must have a free opportunity to talk. It's like a team. In a team, no one person overshadows the other. So like I said, there are social norms. These are unwritten rules of behavior that are considered acceptable in a group or society. Shake hands when you meet someone. I just expressed that now. Even shaking hands when you meet somebody. When you are shaking hands with your junior, when you are shaking hands with your mate, and you are shaking hands with your senior, it is not the same way. There are people that you want to shake hands in your group that you have to use your two hands. You have to use the other left hand to support your right hand to show on, and you still have to bend down your head because you are dealing with somebody maybe that's far your senior. So these are some of the things that you look at. Arrive to appointment on time. You call for meeting 10 o'clock and by 11 o'clock, you are here to show at that meeting. Or you are coming for a meeting at 10 o'clock by 10 minutes after 10, you are just coming and you are strolling as if you have not done anything wrong. So these are social norms. These are things that have come to be. Then don't talk while with your mouth full of food. You know, it's unethical. Then there's another one when you are in a group, you are in a board meeting, or you are in a management meeting, or you are in a group meeting. Because you have your kinsman in that meeting, in an official setting where everybody are not from the same place, maybe Igbo, Yoruba, TV, Idoma are together. Because your brother is there, you started speaking your language in a formal meeting. It is unacceptable. It's a bad standard. So these are some of the social norms that we are talking about in the workplace. there are different types of social norms, okay? Because some people call it social examples of social norms. And these are everyday behavior. Like I said the other time, then you have the morals as reflect moral value. Now, possibly in your organization, there's no place where they wrote that shall not steal or that shall not cheat. But normally, you know that in this setting sheet, they hello.
Hi.
Hi, sir.
Okay, sorry, please, another one. So you like can imagine a man slapping a woman in a workplace environment. Like now, I work in the university environment. Nobody has ever told me, Olutu, you must not fight your colleague, physical fight of your colleague in this place. But me, I know that any attempt for you to fight your colleague in the workplace environment, you are out of the system before you know it. Nobody will tell you, you are gone. They just say panel for you. And you are gone. But it may not be written. Okay? So these are mores. Then you talk about the custom, okay, which refers to various socially approved methods that individual and personal contact with others perform collectively. Fasting during the Islamic holy month of Ramadan is customary. Now, what is happening in the workplace environment now is that the Christians, as soon as they enter into their office, the next 5 minutes, they want to use it to pray. The Muslim, as soon as it's 2 o'clock, they want to take permission, either they spread their mat in their office to pray, or they go quickly to a nearby mosque to go and pray. All right? So this has become customary. And that is why I discovered that in most ministries, department, and agencies today, even though you don't build mosques, even though you don't build churches or chapels, they build mosques. So that the Muslims that are working in that place, they don't need to walk away from the office environment for them to go and pray when it is time for them to pray. Okay, maybe around 1 or 2 o'clock, they'll just walk straight into the room that have been constructed for them, and then they do their prayers, and then they move on. So there are basic customs that have come to be part of our way of life in the workplace environment. And of course, the last one is the sanctions. They are the social norms that ensure social order through control, discipline, and conformity in society. So now sanctions, every behavior in the workplace environment has a sanction, all right? And it has become a law. So that when you violate a particular issue, there's something that goes with it that's punitive, like a reward. But these are a negative reward as a case of. So these are the various types of social norms that we have in our workplace environment. Now, social standard in procurement refers to the ethical and social considerations that organizations integrate into their purchasing processes. Now we have understood what is a social standard. We have understood what is a social norm. We equally understood the various types of norms, social norms that we have in the workplace environment. Now, how do we bring these social norms into procurement? And now in the procurement, we may call it ethical standards. We may call it fairness. Is this right? Is this wrong? When you overinflate the price of your product because you want to change your organization, you go and collude or collide with supplier that instead of item going for 9,500 naira, you will tell the supplier to increase it to 10,500 or 11,000 naira. So that the remaining change of 1,500, you will take 1,000, then the supplier will collect 500 naira. All right, many of us do it in our place of work. Okay, so these are social ethical issues that we brought into procurement. Now, this involves ensuring that goods and services are procured in a way that promote positive social outcomes, such as fair labor practices, safe working environment, safe working conditions, community development, alongside the traditional consideration of quality, cost, and delivery. So when you look at social standard in procurement, you want to look at fair labor practices. How can you employ somebody into your office as a secretary, and the secretary does not have a laptop, or the secretary does not have a good seat and table to sit in an air-conditioned office? But you, the MD or the manager, you have air condition, you have executive chairs, and only for you to go and buy plastic chair and plastic table for your secretary or for your receptionist. So will you say that you have a fair labor practices? Sometimes we are biased. I remember in this university some years ago, when College of Management Sciences moved from town to the campus, this small place where we are currently occupying now, the contractor did not fix AC. He only fixed AC in the dean and the HOD's offices. No other offices had AC. So the dean refused to sign the handing over note. I said, how will professor not have AC? So they went to administration. One comment I heard that annoyed me was that it's only the management staff, the dean and the HOD that should have AC. The professors and any other staff should not have AC. Very absurd. How can you have, at least even though you say the junior lecturer, all the rooms should have AC in the first instance. All the rooms should have AC. But now you have now divided it and then sectionalized it. That only this category was when we complete that they now have to fix this in the professors. Another visit came and they now fix this in all the rooms. So from morning, say 8 o'clock in the morning to sometime night. Many of them are used to have gotten laptops. So what am I trying to say? Your labor practice that you are engaging, people that want to engage in procurement, safe working conditions and community development. What are you giving to the community around you? Because they can make life, they can frustrate your life. If you don't take care, if you don't add value to the community around you. I remember when they used to lock our gates at the university, the community people will come and lock our gate and say, we cannot go out, we cannot come in. What is happening? They are frustrating the effort of the workers of the university as well as the students. So it is very important that you give back to the society, you give back to the community that is hosting you, so that there will be a sound relationship between the two. So social procurement is a process that focuses on using procurement activities to deliver social and economic outcomes beyond the traditional purchasing of goods and services. Now, when you are doing procurement, we are now saying that what kind of relationship are you building? That's why I said deliver social relationship. What kind of relationship are you having with your colleagues in the office? Sometimes just because of procurement, because of purchases, enmities is created and built and sustained in an organization. It is not you that is supposed to buy. It is the departments that are supposed to buy. No, even the MD will say you will be the one to go and buy. Some of us will even go and float our own company and be diverting the procurement activities to micro-floated company at these standards. So what kind of relationship are you building? Do you think that procurement is building in your organization? Procurement, the unfair procurement practices can create enmities in the workplace environment that can bring the organization down. Okay, it is only you that will be buying this office. Okay, let us see now. Before you know, the person start planning for the downfall of that organization. So that is the essence of, that is why social standard is established. That is why social standard is established. So take note your job as a social procurement officer. Anywhere you find yourself, there are human beings there, and that human being must build relationship. What kind of relationship are they building among themselves with the facility they are using? And then the economic outcome. The procurement, what value, what economic value is it adding to the lives of the workers in that place? You use some labor, you use them, you reduce them to nothing. They want to go home. in order for them to be able to carry out this procurement. At the end of the day, say, Mr. John, the Lord will bless you. Okay, good night. See you tomorrow. Meanwhile, you are putting in your pocket some values. Meanwhile, that Mr. John has used procurement to add value to that organization. He has labored so hard to ensure that the right thing is done via procurement to ensure that we achieve our goals in the company. At the end of the day, what compensation or what appreciation are you rendering to Mr. John? How do you want Mr. John to feel? Or what kind of, how does Mr. John position the organization in his heart? At this company, they are very stingy. Just like when I was in Port Harcourt those days, most people do not want to work in Shell. They prefer to work in Chevron. In fact, there are many Shell workers that resigned and went to Chevron and Texaco. Why? Because they said the welfare package, the salary of Shell is higher, but the welfare package of Chevron was far better than that of Shell. So people were leaving Shell to go to Chevron and Total to go and work. Because the center of the work environment of Chevron was on the people. So you cannot imagine the differences. Like I said again the other time, as a government, what economic value is your state or your country enjoying from procurement? It's also very important, like the example I gave the other time. Then the social procurement concept can also be referred to as innovative procurement, responsible procurement, and socially responsible public procurement. So whatever name you come across, what they are talking about is social standard in procurement. These are the examples of social standards in procurement. Fair labor practices. That's what I just extensively discussed now. How fair are you in maintaining the culture of good working relations with the laborers or with the people you are working with in the environment? The people you employed, the people you engage, are they qualified? Did you engage because of sentiment, because this person is your brother or that person has a relation with your wife? So what kind of fair labor practices? The people who are qualified, did you engage them? Or you just engage people because one minister or senator or one royal father sent a letter? That is why today I can boldly say in the university environment, most lecturers are not fit to be in the university environment. Most of us are not good enough. Because most of us came not because we have passion for it, we came because we know one person or the other. But there are many people who are frustrated outside there. They just have a contact to the university, they are in the university. Tell them to go for lectures, you never see them for lectures. So and it's everywhere. Go to the ministry, the same thing. Go to the ministry, the same thing. In fact, go to the medical environment, the same thing. Most of the medical students that we are rolling out today and have been engaged, God forgive all of us. In fact, my prayer is for not to have anything to do with hospital nowadays. Because the old, passionate medical doctors are going. Some of them have gone, many of them are going. And the current one are digital medical practitioners. Any little thing, before they even carry out, what do you call it? Carry out checks on you. And as you go and do tests, they will just write drug for you. As soon as you are just lodging your complaint, say, okay, just carry paper, start writing drug for you. Without checking you. We have them. So, fair labor practices, the working environment, the community benefits. What benefits the community derive from this procurement processes? Furtherly, I just finishing the underpass at Thailand. The people that are living around that environment, what are they going to benefit? How is that underpass going to benefit the people of Makurdi? How is it going to benefit the people that are living very close and also members by reason of the community project? What did they call it now? I think community project or whatever. They'll just go and carry this and take to their village. They go and collect this and take to their village. Meanwhile, their village don't need it. They don't even care to bother the needs of their community. I remember some years ago, when Amici was the governor of Rivers State, I was contacted to carry out a needs assessment on women in the 23 local government of Rivers State. by the wife of the governor, so that the local government A, the needs of women in local government A will definitely be different from the needs of the local government B. So she wanted to know what are the needs of these people, local government by local government. Just like in Benue State here today, there are 23 local governments. The needs of the women of each of these local are not the same. So you needed to carry out a needs assessment blueprint or research to be able to know which one are the same, which one are different. And then you'll be able to now direct a specific project according to their needs. How many government does that? How many government carry out needs assessments? Senator want to empower people, just go and shatter the canopy, go and shatter, what do you call it? Tailoring machine, go and shatter, without body to know.
Wheelbarrows.
Wheelbarrows, double. Some people want to buy tire, bicycle, motorbike tire, like example in the Kogi State. Without finding out what are the people of Vandikia required. The youth of Vandikia, what do they require? Because the needs of the youth in Vandikia is not the same as the youth of the people in Apa. They are not the same. They can't be the same. So you need to carry out this research to be able to needs assessment. So before you can go into procurement, everybody just do this. They will collect this, they'll go and sell and use the money to go and drink and carry women and eat familiar with bush meat. Because that is not their need. But they will collect what others are collecting. So it is very important, community benefit. What are the community benefiting from the needs? From procurement. Then environmental sustainability. Your procurement, how sustainable it is. The product, is it a green product? The price, is it a green price? If you look at the 4 Ps, okay? So the environment, how is your procurement? What value is your procurement adding to the environment? Is it hazardous to the environment? Is it killing the people in the environment? Okay, so how is your procurement adding value to your environment? Sustainability. So that the procurement you are doing today should not be danger to the people that will benefit from it tomorrow. So it is very important. That is why you discover that when you are constructing roads, you see a lot of trenches just by the side where they have dug and dug and dug and dug. Tomorrow, people will fall into that trench and die. So you're only thinking about today. You are not thinking about the implication of your actions or your procurement actions tomorrow. That's the essence of sustainability. Sustainability is whatever you are doing today, will it be of good tidings for the people in the future, so that it will not be bringing injury onto them. It is good to come and establish filling station in an environment, for instance, in a residential environment, even though it's against the law. But people be excited that they are bringing what do you call it? They are bringing filling station to my environment. Even hotel, even eateries, bring an eatery to a residential environment. The question is that how do they manage the waste? How do they manage it? Do they bury them? Do they convert them? So what is it? So before you know, the whole of that environment starts thinking. Before you know, people are having health challenges because of improper disposal of wastages. So it's not just enough to say we are doing procurement. That procurement you are doing, what is the environmental implications? Diversity and then inclusion. If it is not my tribe, I know that person. If it is not my church member, I know they give out to any other person. I can never involve what do you call them? A blind man or physically challenged person. Okay? And that is one of the reasons why this environment, or most of our environment, are lacking development, because we fight non-indigenous. We fight non-indigenous. And because we fight non-indigenous, and it is non-indigenous that will bring development. Go and check, go and find out research. Who brought development to America? Who brought development to Lagos State? So for as long as a state...
America is migrants, visitors.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Any environment, any community, any state that rejects non-indigenous or that fight on it will never see development till Jesus Christ will come and take all of us away. So in your environment, so what is the level of diversity? What is the level of inclusion? The less privileges, are you carrying them along? So these are some of the things that you have to consider. How diversified Nigeria today is supposed to be one of the greatest countries in the world because of our diversities, different ideas, different culture, different mindsets, wonderful set of people. We learn from one another. Look at the time we were running a confederational system. The northern Nigeria, the southern, eastern Nigeria, and then the western Nigeria. When Awolowo put this structure in place, before you know it, North has put it up. Before you know it, now this is as well I put it up. If you now be start one, before you know it, Awolowo has put it up. Before you know it, Ahmadu Bello has done the same thing. Look at the level of competition, and this competition was bringing development. Now as you establish a university. Before you know it, Awolowo did the same thing. Before you know it, Ahmadu Bello did the same thing. ABU. And before you know it, there was development. Awolowo built stadium. Before you know it, the other one built stadium. The other one built stadium. Awolowo introduced the first newspaper, the first television station, the first radio station. Before you know it, every other tribe. So you can see the level of diversity. Development was bringing. Before we now decide to destroy with ethnic and religious sentiment. Today, if it's not a thief man, no, you cannot be this. If it's not a Doma person, no, you can never be that. Today is not a Yoruba person. No. So even in our place of work, this is also reflecting. Let me shock you, students. There was a department in this university some years ago that the head of the department, who happens to be an Igbo man, in the course of there were new offices, so he now assigned two into. So he now assigned two friends. So he thought they were friends. One Idoma and one TV. So he assigned them two boys. He assigned them one office to them. Do you know that they went behind separately and pleaded with the HOD to separate them? That Idoma and TV cannot stay in the same office. It was I was grieved. I was pained. This is a true life story. They went behind to go and beg that they should, and the man had no choice. They had to separate them. Brought another person to this way, brought TV to this way, brought another tribe to the other one, and then there was peace. So diversity and inclusion is also required in procurement. And then, of course, ethical supply chain. Ethical supply chain. Many of us today, many supplies today, many procurement today, they are refurbished equipment that people supply. Ask somebody to supply with generator, mega generator. Before you know, they'll go for a refurbished one. Even buses. In fact, recently somebody was telling me that some of the buses that were supplied into Benue links by earlier government, most of them were refurbished. I don't know how true it is, but that was the rumor.
It was true, sir.
So thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Mm.
So you can,
yes, it was true that the contractor that was given the job brought in some refurbished one mixed with ones that were much stronger.
More stronger. Thank you very much for that confirmation. So you can. So how ethical is that? How ethical? So must we at every point in time want to cut corner and change this? And we are still the same person that's going to consume that thing. Funny enough, if you don't use it, your children will use it. I was telling some lecturer a few days ago that either we like it, those of us that are corrupt in the university environment as lecturers, either you like it or not, the people you are corrupt, you are using collecting money from and pass, people you are collecting money and they don't write projects, they will be the one that the university will engage tomorrow, they will teach your children. And woe betide you when you sleep down on your sick bed or your old age and you say, what are these lecturers teaching nowadays during our time? During our time, you raise these people that are teaching your children tomorrow. So it must boomerang. It must boomerang. So ethical supply chain is how ethical are you about procurement? How are you following the normal standard that have been set by the local purchasing environment, by the national purchasing environment, and by the international purchasing laws and regulations. To what extent are you doing that? Many of us will inflate the price of contracts in our offices that will be injurious to the same organization that is paying us salary. Funny enough. And when that company closed down, you are gone. You will not collect the next month's salary, but you are part of the reason why that company collapsed. And then responsible sourcing. Like I said something that somebody was asking, what's the source of your supply? Sometimes you have reasons for procurement, and you are privileged to be the one to be responsible for that. You go and bring your relations. You go and bring your brother. You go and bring your uncle. You arrange. Sometimes, I remember those days when Akinyule again, let me refer back to NAFDA. The Igbos will go to India and China, expired drug, repackaged it, and flood Nigerian market with it. So what is the source of your supply? What is the integrity of the source of your supply? What is the experience of the source of your supply? What historical record does your source of supply have that is good enough for you to patronize them? Because after supply, there has to be a relationship for future businesses. So what we are doing today, what sense will it make for you tomorrow? So it is imperative that your source of supply must be a responsible one, must be one with integrity. So it is very important that you appreciate that. Then you look at the various, we also look at the various social standards or social norms in the procurement, which I've mentioned some earlier on: transparency, lack of conflict of interest. You know, in every organization, you pursue two objectives. You pursue the corporate objective, you pursue your personal objective. At no point, I repeat.
Hello, sir.
At no point should your personal, yes. Hello, are you hearing me?
Okay, you were silent. That was why I said hello, to know if you are still there.
Okay, sorry. No, I was not silent. Maybe it's the network again. Are you hearing me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now, sir.
I hear you now, sir.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. Okay, thank you. So I said that these are some of the social norms in procurement: transparency, which I have expressed earlier on, the lack of conflict of interest. And I said in every organization, there are two types of objectives. You have the corporate objectives and the personal objective. The corporate objective has to be the objective that the organization employed you to come and help them achieve. While the personal objective is the objective that you want to achieve, the needs that you want to meet as you are working in that organization. And I said that at no point should your personal objective override or overshadow your corporate objective. At no point. Immediately you do that, you have issue with the company, and you may decide they may set panel for you. And that is one of the major challenges that we have in the workplace environment. Most of it has to do with procurement. Because in the procurement, in fact, everybody wants to kill themselves. They kill one another to be the head of procurement. Hello, are you hearing me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, hearing you, sir. We are with you, sir.
All right. Yes, so thank you. So many people commit a lot of atrocities, go extra mile to want to be in procurement, because the mentality is that there's money in procurement, there's stealing in procurement, there's ethical practices in procurement. So if you want to be rich, be posted to procurement. But when you are privileged to be posted there, what do? So there's lack of, so there will be that lack of interest, because you'll be pursuing your personal interest, your personal selfish interest, instead of the interest of the organization. Then, of course, fair competition. It's also very important when you are choosing your supplies, you give room for everybody to apply, or the qualified ones to apply. That is why every organization should have a record of suppliers. People have the possibility who may be possibly responsible to supply you your needs. So you must give everybody fair opportunity to compete. So that at the end of the day, the competition will give you an added advantage. So what are the payment terms? This has to be agreed upon after you have chosen your preferred bidder. You must agree on payment terms, and don't break it when you have agreed on payment terms. It's part of the standard. Social responsibility. What are you giving to your community? Okay, it's very important. Corporate social responsibility, very important. Then quality over cost. Like somebody was asking the other time, you must choose quality over cost. Don't say this thing is very cheap. Consider the quality first. That was my response to the person that asked that question earlier on. So you must understand that the cost, as good as it is that you want to reduce cost, but you must also be conscious of having value for money. So quality, choose quality over cost. It's ethical. Then supplier diversity. It's also very important. Use different, have understanding of different suppliers. Don't just be rigid about one particular supplier. Okay, we show diversity. Data security. Not every Dick and Harry will have access to your platform, to your website, and then your secure data. Because either you like it or not, the competitors are also looking for your downfall. So make sure your data are secure. Make sure the information you have about your suppliers are secure. Make sure your information about your company, your procurement processes are secured. So it's not everything that is just open to every Dick and Harry. That is not even everybody that works in your organization should have access to your database. Because if not, some of them may be selling it. Remember that there was, I think it was still in Bauchi State, where one Hausa man, the other Hausa man, one Fulani man, was working, I think it was the Federal Library or so, one of the libraries, the other state of Federal Library. And every day we carry one book to go and sell to people that are selling akara so that I can be making money. Every day. Until before the organization realized that so many books have gone, before they realize themselves. So many books have gone. So it's not everybody that you make to have access. And this person just was, I think a security man or a job floor worker, a very small person there, but an adult who had to be selling the go and be feeding his family. So you can imagine that kind of thing. So remember when during that riot, I don't know which riot now, I can't remember. I think the last riot, I think was it the same Bauchi or Kano, where they looted the Federal Library. Nobody touched a single book. Everything they stole that they were furnitures. And they stole and carted away to them. But all the books were intact. So you can see different stroke for different people. So contract fulfillment. It is very also important. How do you fulfill your contract? The contract you have agreed upon, the contract that you are signed into. How do you fulfill that contract? Do you renege at some point? Or do you decide to change the goalpost after you have set the ball rolling? So what do you do? So it is very important. Then, of course, you must do continuous improvement. There's no one, in procurement, there shouldn't be one-stop shop. There shouldn't be one-stop shop in procurement. Because that's why we talk about maintaining relationship. Maintaining relationship after you must have got done with your procurement, maintain relationship, whether that person wants to do business with you or you still want to do business with that person. Iwodi Lucy, can you please mute? Please, administrator, mute that person, please. So that's what we have there. And then what are the benefits of social procurement? Number one, positive social impact. Positive social impact. Enhanced reputation. Okay? People don't care about reputation, but there are still many organizations that cares about reputation, that cares about who they are and what they stand for. So if you are able to have a good quality social standard in procurement, you'll be able to have an enhanced reputation. So much so
It
that
gives a good image.
Yeah, good image. Thank you,
Sorry,
sir.
sir. And
Somebody can even decide to make supply payment. Yes, please. Yes. Who want to talk? Who are you speaking? Hello? Hello, somebody speaking out.
No,
Okay,
he
I don't think so,
supported.
sir. No,
Okay,
I only supported that enhanced reputation with good image also.
okay, thank you.
Could you throw light on this positive social impact, please?
Yes, like now, anywhere you see the word social, what should come to your mind is relationship. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
because of the quality of procurement between Rivers State government through Wike and Julius Berger, today they have made positive social impact among themselves. And that was why, as he's moving from Rivers State, and he was privileged to be Minister of FCT, he carried Julius Berger along. Even to patch road in Abuja night in Julius Berger. So they have made social impact, they have become friends. Julius Berger and Wike have become one. To the point now that it was just like when Babangida was the president of Nigeria, or should I say the head of state. There was the same social impact, positive social impact between Julius Berger and Nigerian government. So much so that Julius Berger had the house that Babangida is living now. Rumor has it that it was built for him on that mountain by Julius Berger as a thank you package, when he was exiting. So good quality social standard or social procurement bring about positive impact, social impact that can last beyond the office when two of you are in office. So it's always very good. That's why I said earlier on that whatever you are doing today, don't feel that it must end today. Let whatever you are doing today live beyond you. It is very important. So you can make social impact between the players. You can make social impact within the organization. You can also be able to make positive social impact within the environment where you are operating. It's also very important. So it depends on what kind of social impact that you are enjoying from the relationship between the supplier and the procuring entity. Then, of course, reduce risk. When you have a very positive social relationship in procurement, it helps to reduce the risk. You'll be able to mitigate your risk. Okay? For instance, now, you may discover that your suppliers may be responsible for the insurance of the goods or service that is supplying to you. But because of good relationship, I decided to write that off. Okay? So the quality of the product that you are going to buy, okay, and the safety of the product until it gets to your warehouse, the risk will also have to be reduced because I know this person is my friend. I cannot afford to disappoint him. I cannot afford to fail that company. I cannot afford to disappoint him. Yeah, this person will have become family. There's a way, just like hello? So it is very important that we appreciate the level of risks that can be reduced or mitigated via. Then we also have another benefit, the economic development, which I've talked about so much. So procurement, social procurement will be able to bring development to the state or to the procuring entities and its environment and all that. So it is very important. Innovation and collaboration. Collaboration is very important. Sometimes you collaborate with your supplier. Okay, I want to procure this item. Which of this item do you think I can buy? So your supplier will be the one that to use his own supplying experience because they have good knowledge of this and they have been supplying over the years. So they will be in the better to advise you so they can collaborate. You can even decide to make supplies before you pay if you are short of resources and all that, knowing fully well that you have never disappointed. Like I was teaching another class, procurement class, last year, I suppose, and I was telling them that it will be difficult for Julius Berger to say you want to come and work in Benue State. It will be difficult, no matter the nature of job. And the reason is not far-fetched. They don't have record of, possibly, number one, because of the insecurity. Number two, can Benue State government be trusted based on past experiences, on historical record, as to whether they hold contractors, whether they have been holding suppliers, they have been paying supplier regularly. Until earlier came, Is it people that cannot, that were owing pensioners and owing workers 6 months, 3 years, 2 years, that will now come and give me contract and I will come and do? So you cannot see that it will be difficult for somebody like Julius Berger, a company like that, to say he's coming to Benue State. Until recently, where we now have somebody like Padaria that cleared all the backlog of salary that they owed, and they cleared maybe the contractor, I don't know. But basically, you know, you can reason with me that there are established organizations that want to work, that will not want to work with some states in Nigeria, for instance, because of their historical records. People that are owing salary want to go and do business with them. What person that cannot pay the staff salary is the one that will come and pay me my contract work. So that issue of trust, that issue of doubt may be there, so it may not work. So collaboration and then innovation is very key. Innovation, of course, talks about technology. It takes technology, using technology to execute your responsibilities. Example of social procurement is we have the supplier diversity, which I've explained. Green procurement, which I've mentioned. Green procurement has to do with the safety, the fairness, the hazard that the procurement may cause on the working environment. So you look at all of these things. And then, of course, the ethical procurement. This is another which we have talked so much about earlier on. So, class activities. Any question? Any question, any comment, any observation?
Hello,
Who is
sir.
at lost?
Yes. I think we are all clear. But hello, sir.
Okay. Go ahead.
I just want to add to take us back a bit and add to that ethical supply. I have a contribution. Why at the time that we were having a very, very negative impression about Chinese phones, where that if you're using a phone that is termed Chinese phone, people look at it to be inferior and look at you to be using a substandard device. But I come to realize that even at that point, one of my friend who happened to travel to China, went and bought a phone in China that the standard was almost like at that time it was a Nokia that we used to look at as being a very high class or standard phone. But the phone he bought there was of the same quality with that one. So we now discover that it was the Igbos that would travel to China to buy phones and sell in Nigeria here that will go for inferior ones. They buy at cheaper rate and come and sell at higher rate to make much profit. So that's just my contribution to that ethical supply.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that's a very good contribution. You know, we are used to such things. Like I was giving the example of the same China and India at that time when Navdak Kumar was there, Akinyele was there. If not for Akinyele time, we only don't know how many Nigerians will have died as a result of fake products or substandard products. So any other person that want to share experience with us from your company? Anyone that want to share experience with us? Okay, so let me take this topic for just 30 minutes, then we can close for today. I hope I'm making impact too. Everyone is just fine.
Very well, very well.
Yes, sir. You're making impact, sir.
The impact is much.
Thank you very much. So conclusively, I said that social standard in procurement is imperative to appreciate. Okay, it is imperative to appreciate the social component of procurement, even though this is a universal protocol. But the culture and tradition of the global environment vary from country to country. As such, social standard is a universal language that must be understood, integrated into daily business activities in order to achieve fair goals through integrity processes while using green tools. So it is imperative that it is not only in Nigeria that we are talking about social standards, it's all over the world, all over the world. So whatever you are doing, either as a procurement officer or you find yourself in a working environment, ensure that you have to strengthen the social status of that organization, the social status of that environment. That is what you are being built for now, so that the relationship within the workplace environment, either with the equipment, the relationship of woman and equipment, relationship of woman to woman, horizontally and vertically, relationship with supplier, with outsiders, with regulatory agencies, with communities, host communities. How is it like? That should be your bordering now. That should be your task now as a social standard specialist. So let me talk about this, labor rights and working conditions. Labor rights and working conditions, this is another aspect of social standards in procurement. At the end of this lecture, you'll be able to understand what are labor laws and regulations in different countries. You're able to identify the working conditions and labor standards, as well as apply the working condition in the procuring organization. What is labor laws and regulation? Labor legislation regulates both individual employment relationship and collective labor relations. So in every organization, you should be able to understand that the way and manner the individual worker behaves in an environment needs to be regulated. In the same way, group or corporate relationships must also be regulated and maintained. So it helps to protect basic freedoms and rights at work. So there shouldn't be intimidation or bullying in the workplace environment. One person should not have more rights than the other, in the workplace environment. All of us should have equal rights, but either vertically or horizontally in the workplace, we should all be treated as equal in terms of gender relations and all that. So it also has to ensure minimum labor standards, leaving the rest for social partners to define through collective bargaining and defines the contractual status. Sometimes I remember when I was first employed into Uniagri, there was no office for me. So the college officer had to create an office. I think for almost 2 weeks, I could not enter any office. So each time she sees me, she will ask, "Oh God, please, Doc, please don't be angry. Please just bear with us. I'm working on I'm working on it, please. Very soon the office will be ready." At a point, they went and got the furnitures. After a while, the AC, But the way the woman was relating with me gave me some sense of joy. In fact, at a point, I had to be avoiding her because I'm sorry, don't do too much. But who does that nowadays? Who cares whether you have office or not? Especially in the public setting. So these are some of the things that we have to deal with in the workplace environment because the laws has to be obeyed. So the labor laws establish the rights, obligations, and responsibilities of both parties in the workplace and aim to ensure fair and safe working conditions. So what are the rights of the employees? What are the obligations? What duty were you expected to perform? Are you performing your duty? What responsibility are you supposed to share with your partners? Because as individual, you have a right, and your right must be protected. But I say that you also have obligations. You also have commitment to your partners in the office. Like, for instance, now, there are some persons, the HOD in the university will appoint him, maybe, Mr. Ojo, you are going to be our next exam. No, I don't want to be. Don't appoint me as exam officer. Don't appoint me as exam officer. If you appoint me, I will frustrate you. That kind of a thing. So the question is that what is your obligations? What's your obligations? So these are some of the things. We want to choose where we want to work? No. You are assigned to where you are supposed to work. You are assigned responsibilities, not you choosing responsibility for yourself. And you must do it no matter what. Either you like the face of your boss or you hate it, the face of your boss. Whatever assignment that is given to you, it must be done. So separate the personality of your guy from the official assignment that is given you. If you don't like, if you want the face, well, that's the in thing. So Everybody has a right, and everybody also have obligation. And then also know that you have responsibilities, okay, to give to your people in order to ensure fair and safe working conditions. In the workplace environment, you must learn to be your brother's keeper. You must learn, not that you see a snake in your colleague's office, you keep quiet because you are angry, because you are angry with that person. No, the safety is very paramount. You saw a fan that is about to fall off in somebody's office, you keep quiet. No, that is not correct. All right, if it is known, you are gone. So these laws cover a wide range of aspects, which includes employment contract. What is the nature of the employment contract? Okay, the wages agreed upon, the working hours. Normally, Nigerian working hours for public, for public and private is 8 hours. So anything outside 8 hours becomes what? Overtime. So what is the conditions for overtime? So it's very important. Then leave. Who goes on leave? Not that when it's my time for leave, you tell me say I cannot go for leave. It's my right. So I should be able to have it and enjoy it. Health and safety and termination of employment. I always tell people, I say, look, it is very easy for anyone to be employed as a civil servant, but terribly difficult to terminate the appointment of that person. Unlike in the private sector, where you can be hire and fire. In the public sector, they can never be hire and fire. There has to be a committee, there has to be a panel. The panel has to be reviewed by some persons before a final decision is taken. And when a final decision is taken, it has to be communicated to the minister. So when you look at some of these processes, you discover what, until the governing council, the governing council gives approval, all your efforts will amount to nothing. So you can see the process, but in the private sector, it is not like that. So to terminate the appointment of somebody in public service is one of the most difficult things to be done. These are some of the labor issues, risks, challenges, concerns related to the treatment of workers in the workplace environment. Discrimination. We have it. Some people discriminate because this one is Christian. In fact, denominational discrimination is there in faith. This one is deeper life. This one is a Catholic, Orthodox and non-Orthodox discrimination day. And then we now talk between pagan and faith. So when you look at a lot of discrimination, gender discrimination, sex, until recently in America, until Donald Trump came in, a man can enter into a woman's toilet to go and ease himself for convenience. That secrecy was open, until this man came and put an end to that rubbish. So you talk about global labor standards. Your labor laws, does it align with the global standard? Labor regulations, do you understand labor unionization? Do you allow your worker to form union so that they can speak with one voice when they are facing tribulations and challenges? Workplace harassment, bullying in the workplace environment. Okay, bullying, harassing, because you're a senior person, you want to use your seniority to sit on that person. You want to use your age, you are senior in age, you are senior in rank. You want to bring limitation to somebody in the workplace environment. Okay, so workplace safety. I think these points are self-explanatory. I don't want to really overflog them. So they are except there's anyone you want me to actually explain. So in the workplace environment, know your rights, 8 essential labor laws. Okay, promotions. Talk about labor laws, employee rights, working hours, agreements, bonuses. What are the agreement on bonuses? There are some statutory compliances. So all this, goes together, compensation. And that's also give me the labor rights. Fair wages, which is, I've mentioned that. Decent working hours, employment security. Many offices, many of them don't have job, many people don't have job security in their place of work. You can be fired and hired, especially Chinese and Indian companies. You can be employed today, you'll be sacked tomorrow. So no job security. So there is that always fear. Family responsibilities. Some of us, we have allowed our family responsibility to enter into our place of work. We have brought our family challenges to our place of work. We know that you must pursue your personal goals. But even while you are pursuing your personal, don't allow your family weight to weigh you down to the point, because anyhow you see, you must do corruption. When you allow, like we were discussing yesterday with some of my friends yesterday, or someone whose collective salary is not up to 200,000 naira. Either 200 or 250. And he had 3 children in the secondary that they are paying 800,000 naira per term. That's an average of 2.4 million naira in 3 months. And your salary is not up to 1 million in that 3 months. So what will your family responsibility be a burden to the organization? Either you are collecting overtime, either you are collecting loan, or you are stealing and going to sell, or you are extorting, or you are cutting corners. One must be one. So it is very important that we don't allow our family responsibility to enter into our place of work. Maternity at work. Even the worst now, they have said that once your wife put to bed, your wife put to bed. Hello, are you hearing me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Are we still there?
Yes, sir. We are hearing you, sir.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you. So now, government has released a policy. Thank you, sir. That if your wife put to bed, the man also is entitled to paternity leave.
Paternal leave.
So, now be great.
The network is cracking, sir.
There will be 3 months, I don't know. So that you can be in a Nigerian cultural setting. You know, we are so to do the same without looking at our culture and tradition. The right. Are you hearing me now?
Yes,
Hello?
we can hear you, but
Yes, sir. We are hearing
the previous explanation we don't.
More especially on maternity at work.
Yes, I said maternity. We all know that maternity has to do with women that are pregnant. All right. Now, women that are pregnant, they have to start from attending maternity, what do you call it? This antenatal. They have to attend antenatal in the morning. And by attending antenatal, yes, ma'am. So attending antenatal means that you are going to skip your job hours. It means that you are going to skip your job hours, which will affect the organization. But it is your right. It's your right because you are pregnant, you have to attend antenatal. Then when you put to bed, you now embark on 6-month maternity leave. Now there's a law in Nigeria now that says that when you go on leave, your husband will also go on leave. I don't know how many more, whether it's 3 months or so, paternity leave. So I'm not saying that the impact. Sorry?
Paternity leave is just 14 days. No, paternity leave is 14 days, 2 working days, 2 working weeks.
They say in Lagos it is more, so maybe it varies from state to state.
Anyway, as federal government declare only 14 days.
But is it necessary?
It's necessary for bonding, sir.
It's okay. It's okay. So you cannot say it's your right to enjoy your maternity leave, but the question is that it shouldn't be abused, you know, to a very large extent. There's safe work environment. You engage me, now you engage me to do a job for you, and I'm doing my job, and that job is becoming hazardous to my health. Then something is wrong. So it is your job, and to give me all the necessary safety and equipments that I need to enable me function optimally. So it is my right, it's my entitlement. So when I'm requesting for it, don't say you are asking for too much. So that is what the labor rights is talking about. And then of course the social security. Social security is also very important. So because everybody's actually talking about social, it has become a global phenomenon. Social security in the workplace. So it is important that you enjoy your social security. If you are working in an environment, you must be secured in every way. You must be protected. Very important. And then, of course, you must enjoy fair treatment by all. So the fact that you are a woman does not make you small, or should not deny you the same right that a man in the office is also enjoying. The fact that you are younger does not mean that you should be maltreated. I remember some years ago in Port Harcourt, a friend of mine works in a secondary school, in fact, a deeper life secondary school. So this money they collect by this external registration money they collect, that money does not go to management. It is shared normally by the teachers and the principal. So the principal registers so many external students for YA. So in one of the management meetings, so my friends now ask the man, say, Mr. Principal, this money, the number of our external students is about was it 30-something or 40-something students, and the money, this amount of money it will amount to, and you have not said anything about it all this one, so we don't know what is happening. He say, oh, that one. He say, when you become principal, you know what happened to the money. and that was all. That was all. There's no fair treatment. Because you are the head. Sometimes you do jobs in the office, allowances comes, you sit on the allowances alone. You forget about the people that you did the job, even the main people that did the job. You are just there as a guy to give instruction. And the money comes, the people that did the dirty job on the field work, you neglected them and said them, wait for your time. No, they can end up sue you, sue the organization, or even destroy the system. One person can decide the light that is supposed to be switching off when you are closing, someone can decide to leave it on. That can create fire in the company and burn the fire, and nothing will happen. It's just like somebody who is driving, you engage a driver to be driving you. You will stop at an hotel or restaurant to go and eat. You order for food of 10,000 naira. You say, James, okay, when we are going now, you buy bread and akara. I think that will be okay for you. You sure that man not go drive you enter trailer, man, may you die, may you go. No, but that is the truth.
That is the plain truth.
But
it happens. It happens practically.
Yeah.
I even witnessed one like that the driver was driving her to Lagos and got to the middle of the road and then parked the vehicle and come out and say, I'm no longer driving you from today. And the woman cannot drive.
Jesus Christ. Yes.
And sir, there was one that with all this treatment, there was a day the driver was driving the Oga, was on high speed, asked the Oga to check the speedometer and see at what speed he is. He told him that he doesn't have anything to lose. So it is him that has properties and has aspirations and whatever.
Oh.
So if he doesn't pay him his money, he wasn't owing him. If he doesn't pay him his money, this is where the war ends. The man counted the money and paid. So he just parked him by the roadside and just left him.
Hey, that is serious.
Let me share what that.
I want to imagine.
See, one driver, but then they never repaired this road. He just parked when they will get shot for Lafia. He didn't give him. So he was talking that bread that I thought. He now parked at a corner his and said, he's tired here. He wants to go down here and rest. And that was where Oga promised buying for him the better food and better clothes. Thank you.
See, so fair treatment is very, very important where you are working, So please, let us take this seriously. Thank God we have shared experience in this class today. And some of us that are guilty of this, please, it's not because your life may be in danger, but because it is the right thing to do. Because it is the right thing to do. I know of bosses in offices, when change come into the office, they share the money among their members and they go home with peanuts. Because they did that not because they are too generous. They did that because as Oga, they have other access to other funds that can benefit them that may not get to the younger ones. So sometimes, even before that, okay, you can even say, what comes in? This is what comes in. Okay, Mr. Lagwaja shared the money among members. you see that those junior workers, when you call, in fact, when you have personal runs to do at home or outside the company, or God, don't you have anything to do at home? Can I come? Because they see you as a good man, because you are fair in your dealing with issues in the workplace environment, and that can be extended to the house, okay, and that can be very, very, very beneficial to all and sundry. So it is very important that fair treatment is also a major right, because it is the right of that person that has done the job. So child and labor and forced labor, okay, is this another area that what is the age of that person you're engaged? Okay, like now, in most cases now, housemates are children, people are teenagers who shouldn't do, and even companies now are recruiting people, minors, that are not supposed to be used as child labor. So they're being forced to do assignments, jobs that is far beyond their capacity and capability, all because you are afraid of paying a matured person. So you go and get, younger person, children to do the job for you. So it's a major crime in developed environment. And then finally, freedom of association. Allow people to associate. Why should there be no union in that procuring entity? Why? What are you afraid of? Union is not supposed, it's a pressure group. It's not supposed to be something that we have to pull organization down. It's a pressure group. So we should allow freedom of association. But when there is going to be an abuse, then the organization can put his foot on the ground and then ensure that the right thing is done. The basic elements of labor law. Now, these are the various elements, about 9 of them, of labor law. The first one is employment. Then individual employment relations. What type of job are you talking about? What type of employment? Is it casual employment? Is it tenure or just tenure employment?
Contract.
Is it contract employment? So what type of employment are we talking about? Thank you. So the individual employment relationships. So what is the person you are engaged, is an introvert or an extrovert? So that is why very important. There are some sensitive positions in the office that you have to carry out personal investigation on your employee to know which character does this person have. Because if you don't have understanding of the character of that person that you want to engage in that special environment, like now maybe somebody who is a known who is a thief, a known thief, for instance. You want to engage in procurement. What do you expect? Or somebody who is very loose, whose record shows that he has pregnated even teenagers, 3, 4, 5, 6 persons, and yet not married. You now want to engage and put him as manager over 10 women. Are you not looking for trouble? So what is the individual employment relationship is very important. Then wages and remuneration, is it commensurate? Is it commensurate with the assignments that the job entails? The wages you are paying, the remunerations you are paying. Sometimes, like we said, our labor law stipulates 8 hours working conditions. And somebody is working 12 hours, 10 hours, 15 hours, and you promise to pay overtime, and yet you don't pay. No. You must fulfill the condition of agreement. Very important. Then what are the conditions of work? As stipulated. This should be stated in black and white. Not just stated, but understood by all parties. Interpreted, understood, and put to use by all parties. Then we also have the health, safety, and welfare. The welfare of your employees is sacrosanct. It's non-negotiable. It's safety, the workplace environment, and then it's your response to health-related matters. It's also very important. Social security, I've mentioned that. Trade union and industrial relations should be encouraged, but should not be abused. The administration of labor law. Most of us that are that works in organizations and all that, we don't even understand what the labor law says. We don't even understand what the rights of the labor that we have. It was Ganifa Wemi of blessed memory. I don't know how many of us remember Ganifa in that legal luminary from
I
Mondo
do.
State. Thank you,
Yeah.
sir. It was Ganifa Wemi that said that the power the Constitution of Nigeria gave to the president, that no other president has such power in the world. That the president's power is so enormous that no other president has such power in the world. And you can see it. Look at Obasanjo during his time. Look at Tinubu now. Because of the power, the constitutional power that was given to him, look at what he did in Rivers State. Look at the way Buhari decided to embarrass and rubbish the judiciary, removing the sitting Chief Justice of the Federation of Nigeria because of the power that the Constitution gave to him. So the question is, it is important and very imperative that we understand our laws. So the administration ensure that these laws are being implemented. That is why it is good when you are making a case in your place of work, make that case in relation to the law. And you will see that the company will call you for negotiation. This and Indian that they don't even know, they don't to court. That's why when you threaten them court, the next thing they want to settle out of court. They like settling out of court. And then finally, special provision for particular occupational or other groups. These are special people in the workplace environment. The physical challenged people in the environment. So what place do you have for them? Okay, the meet gates. So what policy do you have in place for them? The blind. Okay, so what place do you have for them? You say because of their condition, you will not engage them. And there are situations where somebody, because of job, loses his hands or fingers and all that, and it was paid peanut and laid off. And nothing happens in this same country. So it is very wrong. But many of us, because we don't understand the laws, we don't understand what the law says, we don't care to follow up and fight for our rights in most cases. This is the laws and regulation in different countries, and this is from India. Industrial Dispute Act 1947 was created, which aims to maintain peace and harmony in resolving conflicts. There will be the Minimum Wage Act of 1948, Factory Act of 1948, Employee Provident Funds, and miscellaneous provisions of Act 1952. These are, so you can now see that it is not only in Nigeria that different laws. Look at when Obasanjo was the president, the labor laws that he came up with, as it has to do with welfare, NHIS. He came up with NHIS, National Health Insurance Scheme. He came up with the pension, he reformed the pension scheme. He came up with the reformed housing scheme and all that. In charge of the Southwest and what do you call him? The Southwest generally, including Chief Jakonde of Lagos State those days. Local housing scheme. All the poor people that are working with state government and I think state government as at that time, maybe our federal government, every one of them, even though just one flat. In fact, one of my uncle today is still living at Abeson State at Yanokpaja. It's 3-bedroom flat that he bought in the 80s. As a civil servant that time that he bought and he got, and then today he didn't build any house anywhere, but he's still living in that environment. So there are laws, labor laws across countries, but all these labor laws across countries, they look similar, but the crafting of these laws is centered on ILO, International Labour Organization Act, so that you can take some, like now, I'm aware of some litigations that have been taken to West African courts. Some litigations are before African courts, some are before the World Court, just because it happened in Nigeria by people that understood this law. So that is why even Nigerian laws are not different. They are also crafted from these international laws of which we are signatories to. That's why I said it is very imperative that we understand the laws and then we work on it. Labor rights top performance. Now, you can now see that Denmark, as far as maintaining or performing labor rights globally. Denmark is taking the lead, even far ahead America. So Denmark, Norway, Finland, the first three, that they respect labor laws. They don't joke with it. They don't abuse it. They are on top. So I can see that if you check, there's no single African country there. Okay? All of them are Europeans and North American, South Americans. Then you have the comparison of country-wise data on the enforcement of labor laws in the global South. Now, if you check, you see now that most of them are Middle East and Africans. These are people that don't respect the labor laws. You can see the number of labor inspectors per 100,000 workers. You can see it down there, the sky blue. Then number of labor inspectors per 1,000 workers, the one in red. And then labor inspector coverage rate percentage. You can see how high it is. So look at where Nigeria is. So you discover that these are people that don't enforce labor laws, in the southern part of the world. Then this here is a graphical representation of the country-wise data in percent of labor law violations in the global south. Bangladesh is the worst, almost 75%. About 70% violation of labor laws. India is follows. Look at Nigeria. Nigeria is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nigeria is number 6 that don't respect labor laws, which is about 20%. Okay, so Vietnam almost 2% and the likes. So these are country variations or country comparisons as it has to do with violation of labor laws in the global south. And then, of course, this is the one showing informal economy percentage. Now, this has to do with labor laws in the informal economy. All right. And then, of course, as you can see, none of them get up to 100%. And those that are got close to 100% are the Tunisia, the Turkey, Uganda, Vietnam, Zimbabwe. That is where the informal economy, okay, how they treat labor laws. What understanding do they have about labor laws, and to what extent they implement labor laws in the informal sector environment is also very important. And then here we talk about the importance of labor laws in protecting workers. The importance in protecting workers' rights, ensuring hours, establishing minimum wage rates. And then, so if you look at this, these are the items put in place to ensure that labor laws are protected using the labor laws in terms of these 4 items. And then what are the benefits for putting labor standards? Improve working conditions, reduce exploitation, promote. Very important that when labor standards are put in place, and will certainly improve. If, for instance, you are engaged in your place of work and your time, nobody abuse your time, nobody belabored you, you work. That is why you discover that the people that are working in Cyprus, the staff of Cyprus, works almost better. Let me use the almost better with the people that work in the other environment, because the working conditions there and the supervision that's given to them here, because it is World Bank, everybody must meet up with report. In fact, this course we are taking you now, immediately you finish your exam, we are giving 2 weeks 1 week or 2 weeks to submit result. Not only submitting result, we must also write report along with it, which is not done in the mainstream university environment. So when you have an improved working condition, then you are bound to increase your responsibilities, reduce exploitation. So when you uphold labor standards, exploitation is reduced to a very, very drastic small number or small percentage, because in the workplace environment, people are exploited. So, but when the right thing is done, exploitation is removed. And then, of course, in terms of economic growth, of course, when you work in a place where standards are maintained, definitely your capacity will increase, your output will multiply. That is why people that are working with World Bank or multinational companies, they perform better than people that are working in the ordinary Nigerian workplace environment. And then finally, improve social cohesion, togetherness, oneness, sense of belonging. You know, they are very right in an environment where the labor operates better. So, gentlemen and ladies, for today, I'll be stopping here. By tomorrow, I will continue with us. So, any question, any observation, any comments?
Question, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, my question is that you have emphasized 8 hours as a working hours in Nigeria. That Nigeria basically works for 8 hours. And
Yes.
I think from 7 to 4 o'clock that normally workers in Nigeria close is 10 hours. Or do I have more information? Need more information about
Nigeria don't work 7 to 4, sir. Nigeria work 8 to 4, which is 8 hours.
Okay. All right, sir.
Resumption hour is not 7 o'clock. Resumption hour is 8 o'clock.
Hello, hello, sir.
Yes. Yes, sir.
So, is it applicable to public servants? Because I went to understand that there's some public servants that do work 24 hours, and there's nothing like overtime attached to it.
No, public servants don't work 24 hours. So there's no public servant that is working 24 hours. None that I know. The working hour for a civil servant in Nigeria is 8 hours.
I think what he's trying to say is probably maybe because of the position one may occupy in the civil service and the engagement, there may be demand of you at certain time, even when it is not the working hours, and for you to do certain things and certain job that take you beyond the normal time. I think that's what he's trying to ask or say.
Okay. Yeah, I think
Exactly.
I get your point.
Yes, sir. Yes, I want to add too.
Okay.
You know, there are certain offices or certain positions one occupies that it requires that you deliver. So that delivery now supersedes some of those work hour things.
Factors or time.
Yes. So you now work at delivering your results and not to work and leave work by 4 because you want to leave work by 4. For example, if you are reporting directly to the governor, for example, and he gives you certain tasks, will you tell me that you go and close 4 when you have tasks to deliver to the governor? You can't.
Now, there are classes of workforce.
It might be political appointments.
Yeah, fine. That's what I want to say. Now, there are classes of workforce in the public sector. All right? Now, if you are holding political offices, you are a director. In fact, from the point of director in the public service, assistant director, you are a political office holder. From the rank of assistant director to permanent secretary, then if you are executive secretary, you are managing director, you are this or that, or PASA and all that. All those are political appointments. There are special gratification that goes with such appointments. And you agree
well,
with
sir, yes, sir, in private organizations is 8 o'clock to 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Yes, that's what I said now. I said that the public sector is 8 to 4. In the public sector, in private sector, it's 8 to some 8 to 4, some 8 to 5. All right, depending on the organization. Some 8 to 4, some 8 to 5. But you will also agree with me that the salary you earn at the private sector where you are working 9 hours instead of 8 hours is more than the public sector where you are 8 hours. I believe you agree with me on that one too.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hello, sir. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm with you.
Okay, I just want to add.
Yes, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Okay, regarding the public sector, that you said most of those positions is when they are political. Sometimes they are not political, but it depends on the work schedule. It has to do with the schedules, even when it's not political. Because when you have a schedule that you have a tax that is timely or demands time, or maybe how will I put it? That I mean has a deadline. You will need to maybe finish the work, even if it requires going beyond the normal working time. So it has to be about schedule, not really political positions. Thank you.
Schedule is okay, it's correct. Again, too, they also have this understanding, like the woman was asking, that there are situations where your boss, you are the secretary, your boss is in the office. Maybe you are head of department, and that, but your boss is in the office around 6, and you are there, and you cannot go unless he leaves. Now, officially, that is not in the real sense of the job, is not official. But because of the demand of the job, you have to say that extra hour. If you tell you are leaving by 8, sorry, by 4, okay, 4, I want to go. And you know, I'm sitting in the office. Okay, my closing time is 4 o'clock. The next day, you'll be transferred. Now, but if you do that job, the fact that you are not officially being given an overtime for such job, you may discover that sometimes your boss can give you certain allowances, certain tips that you will not talk about. So in the real sense of it, your closing hour is 4. But like the young man said, certain schedules, certain development, maybe there's a pressure. I remember sometimes when we want to do accreditation, all of us will stay back to 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, so 8 p.m. sometimes. Nobody pays anyone. But the demand, the schedule at that moment require, it's not an everyday thing. Just once in a while. So you cannot justify that you are entitled to overtime. Okay? But where there is maybe there's auditing firm is coming to an organization, and then there's a need to put papers together. Your boss will tell you point blank, say, don't worry, we'll settle after this thing. And at the end of the 5 days or 6 days, something will drop for you. Okay? But you don't need to, it's only the private sector that will go and fill form. Well, I can't remember of any public sector filling form for overtime. But there are bush meats that goes along with some of these things that some of you will not talk about. Yes, any other question?
Bush allowance.
That goes with it. Yes, any other comments? All right, in the absence of anything, gentlemen and ladies, I prayed tomorrow, please, I promise to be on ground by 10, and I pray that the glitch that happened today will not happen, so that we can start by 10, and then I can wrap up my schedule. So thank you very much, guys and women, ladies and gentlemen. It's wonderful having a moment like this with you. So see you tomorrow.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Doc.
Thank you, sir.
Right, sir.
God bless you, sir.
And you too.
Thank you very much, sir.
Mr. Desmond, any announcement?
Bye.
Mr. Desmond, any announcement?
This one that they didn't give us break. Our head is aching us. No announcement.
Boy, now what for you?
Bros, you the best.
I beg, tell us about those groupies. I beg.
Okay, tell me, is your head not aching you a little bit?
Desmond.
Desmond. Members of group 4.
Desmond, tell us about the groupies.
Members of group 4, kindly
identify your group and meet your group members.
Oh, okay, so. It's all right.
The link is already on our platform.
All
Locate the group and find. Only group 4 members, please.
All right, let's go back to our student group and be putting all the messages there. Now
Group
the
5,
lecturer
what's
has
happening? Group 5, say something.